Hello, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising post-game show. Phoenix Rising 0-0 draw, scoreless first 0-0 draw they have had all season. Couple chances here and there, really, not too much throughout. I think Rising at times. And really, large portions of this game were the better team. My estimation, I know we're going to get into it with both of us, is I think they were a bit more front foot than some of their other lackluster draws earlier on in the season. But nevertheless, the winning streak is stopped. The unbeaten run continues. And here we are, Rising get a point out of it. I am Max Simpson. I am in a different dungeon today. Moved. Here we are, a little shadow next to me. What all do you expect? I'm joined by Owain Evans, who is not in a dungeon, but he is in Tulsa. So, buddy, I don't know if that's much better.
I'll leave that to you to determine, Max.
Yeah. How are we doing, man? How are we feeling about that result and the performance?
It was a long 90 minutes, wasn't it, in some ways? And when you look at it past that as well, not wanting to bring out the old cliche, of course, about the game of two halves, but that is how it felt. You look at the first half and just how it went. Rising 56% of the ball, by and large, getting better shots off. Only marginally more shots, but it felt as though in that half, mostly Tulsa, their main threat was coming via their speed, their ability to counterattack in those moments. And then the second half, you flip that around. Tulsa has 65% of the possession in the second half, Rising, switching to... It felt in many ways in the second half as though what we saw was either Rising would go very direct, they'd be looking at one pass, two pass, and then trying to get a shot off, or they were going in the complete opposite direction in that second half. And it was pass, no real urgency, no real forward movement, and therefore it would fizzle out. At the end of the day, a point is a point. There are worse results you could have had away from home, especially when you come and you've got to play on a playing surface like this, and obviously with the travel. But at the same time, from Phoenix Rising's perspective, it's one of those games where we discussed this going into the game. Obviously, you come in wanting 3 points. It's not going to be the easiest. San Antonio found that out last week, but at the same time, it's that awkward one, isn't it? Whereby you really can fall down on either side of the 1 point gained or the 2 points dropped.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's kind of like going off your point, right? There was at times, maybe there were bits and pieces where, hey, Rising showed a bit of urgency, and I will credit their midfield. It seems from defense to mid, they really were looking to break lines, at least in Adair, and this is where I kind of caveat with, this wasn't like in previous performances earlier in the season where all you see is swing to one side, swing to the other, swing back around, and there's not threatening through the middle. There was a bit, and yet we did see that this was a notable deviation away from these last three matches where, okay, there's maybe a bit more directness. There's a bit more of that threading the needle through the midfield into that final third. We just didn't quite see that today. Listen, it's tough. You definitely want to continue the winning streak. You're happy at least to take a point on the road. Yes, I'll be at the team, but there could be worse results, could be worse performances. Again, the unbeaten run continues, but definitely one where you look at the team that you're playing, you look at how Rising's been doing, you'd like more, but there it is.
But you have to bear in mind as well, those recent games when Phoenix Rising have been picking up the wins, what we often noticed in those matches is the game has, it's been better in overall, but the biggest improvement has come in those handful of moments, and it's been a case of just Rising really punishing the opposition in those individual moments. And it's often Danny Trejo, it's often Manuel Arteaga. We didn't quite see that today. That's not what we saw from this Phoenix Rising team. In the first half, you'd have those moments where maybe the finishing wasn't quite there. Maybe there was one moment in particular, the ball is played through to Danny Trejo. He takes the touch, tries to get the turn, but the touch is a little bit too heavy. It lets the defender get between him and the ball. Later on, you have him taking that little bit too long to get a shot off. It allows the goalkeeper to smother it. We see the same with Gabby Torres in the second half. He gets that big breakaway opportunity, and he just waits too long to take the shot. It allows the defender to recover, and ultimately it goes out for a corner. But if you take away those kind of moments in some of the previous games, it's not as though they were head and shoulders above their opposition. Again, the Phoenix Rising team we've seen in recent weeks, have they taken a step up? Yes, but they've taken a step up just often in those handful of moments where the talent of some of these players has really shone through. When they get frustrated the way they did tonight, then you're going to have trouble.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I think the intent was a lot better than what we've seen earlier on the season, but I think right to your point, it's just today, whether it's going away, whether it's just maybe not their night, whether it's I'll say it at best, questionable pitch side playing surface. They were just a step late pretty much everywhere across the board. Do want to shout out everyone in the chat. What's going on, everyone? A lot of comments, of course, about the shadow next to me. Yep, fantastic. Thank you guys. The Max in the Shadow Realm. Okay, Max the Shadows buying beers. Okay, well, charge it to that guy. Charge it to that guy. Not a problem. Seeing Daniel Barry Sports highlights. Hey, how's it going? Marlon in the chat. Boring. Did not like the match tonight. Yeah, it's it's one of those where you want the taste of victory. You want the exciting results, especially coming off a pretty spoiled week where Rising was just on it, and definitely all matches were pretty thrilling. But hey, not always going to happen. Let's actually get into the numbers, right? Doesn't tell the full story, and actually a bit more even. Again, going off the numbers, these are updating as we all know, so these might be not quote 100% accurate.
They're actually dead on what it currently is at the moment, Max.
Well, thank you. All righty. I love how you say it. I love how you say that too. This guy. All righty. Well, anyway, we got 0-0 draw. It is 0.87 XG for Rising, 0.49 for Tulsa. Possession pretty even, around the 50-50 mark for both teams. Shots pretty even, 14 for Rising, 11 for Tulsa. And then on goal also pretty even there, 3 for Rising, 2 for Tulsa there. It's kind of not too much separating these teams. Again, I think Rising had a little bit some of the better chances. Again, this maybe is a different game if Gabby Torres, step faster. Manuel Arteaga had an opportunity in the first half where Wright cuts it back, kind of does really well to kind of create something out of nothing, and just isn't able to curl it past the keeper. There's moments here and there. I think Tulsa had one kind of point blank opportunity. Well, actually, one point blank opportunity that got Tiger slips. Kind of fizzled out a decent attacking chance, and then another one, right? Rocco has a nice save, pretty much right to him, but hey, he does what he needs to do, and again, that's kind of all separating these two teams through this one.
It is. You know what? Should we have a listen actually to Juan Guerra's overall thoughts now that we've shared our own?
Let's do it.
Important point on the road. If you can find the possibility of the ability to win the game, you don't lose. And tonight, first half, I was very, very pleased. The way we were playing, the way we were breaking lines, we should have been better and more clinical in the final third. But Owen, look over your shoulder. You should walk the field before you get out. It's very, very hard to play on that side of the field. It makes it very, very difficult. I think we created enough chances and we stretched them enough to put ourselves in good positions, and then it was very difficult to execute. Again, it's not an excuse. We still should have been cleaner. We should have probably scored one in the first half. That puts us in a different position in the second half. Then in the second half, it becomes difficult because then you're playing on that side of the field. You want to try to absorb a bit of pressure without taking too much risk because of the field, and it became difficult. And I don't want to take credit away from Tulsa. In the second half, they came on, they pressed a lot higher, knowing also that side of the field is difficult to play on, and they made us be more direct. Being more direct, we struggled a bit because we couldn't really control the game how we wanted. And listen, I want to see the video again. I think we had still, even though we couldn't control the game as much as we wanted in the second half, we probably had one or two clear chances that could have been better executed. We move forward. Next week, I mean, we have an important game at home, but following that it's another 3-game week. So it's on the road. We came to the east and we take a point and we keep moving forward.
Yeah. All right, take a point, keep moving forward. Just kind of a weird match to sum up, man. It's again, I don't know, like it's kind of one of those where, at least for me, I don't really feel incredibly positive or incredibly negative about it. Like just keeping everything in mind, you're trying to be even-kiltered, especially coming off the week that they did, especially coming off the performances that they did, and just knowing this, like it's I don't know, I'm very indifferent about this entire thing.
Yeah. I will say, I know there's some discussion going on this one in the
Yeah.
chat.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it was raised by Juan. I know that many of you watching from Phoenix via the broadcast will have seen the field. There is actually, I've got a little picture here to show you from what it looks like at that
Gotcha.
level. You can see the little bump there. It's not ideal. They're not great conditions to have to play in. I understand what Juan is saying with the way that he put it. The issue, I think, is that Tulsa was prepared in a way
That's
in the
exactly
first
it.
half to play directly, to utilize pace, and to catch on the break in a way that Rising maybe was not quite so well set up in the second half. And you have to be able to do that to nullify the press that's going to come in when you're playing in that kind of an area where, from Rising's perspective, if everything was going their way, what they'd be doing is they'd be passing that ball around the back. They'd be looking to slowly build out from the back and to wait for the opportunities to appear as they're further up the field. But in this case, because there's obviously that risk, the ball can bobble around a little bit. If you've got players high pressing in those moments, that's not going to be particularly effective. You're going to run the risk there of giving the ball away in some very dangerous positions. So, yeah, it's the way I'd put it is this: the way that people are saying in the chat, yes, both sides do have to play in the same conditions. Of course, they do. It's possible sometimes that one side is better set up in order to do so than others. It's not great. We've known this for years. There are multiple stadiums in USL that have similar field conditions. As a team in USL, you should be set up in such a way that you are able to adapt, you are able to deal with the fact that that is a strong possibility. It will happen several times a year. It happens here. It happens in New Mexico. Over the years, admittedly, some of them have started to fade away. We've seen some of those teams move or fold, or but at the same time, you still know that this is a possibility, that there are baseball stadiums in this league that you have to play in, where I mean, even some of the others aren't active baseball stadiums, don't have particularly good field conditions. You can often point towards places like Cashman Field for that one, but you should, as a USL team, be better able to adapt. In this case, the direct play did result in one or two opportunities for Rising, but not
Mhm.
enough. Not enough.
Yeah, no, 100%. Right. And I think to address the chat, right, like either us or Rising, right, I don't think anyone's going to make excuses in saying that the pitch was a sole reason or even necessarily a majority one or anything like that. Like, listen, I think at the end of the day, it does come down to, one of these teams is playing on this type of pitch more often. There's definitely more familiarity. It's definitely something that, listen, we'll call it what it is. They could very much use that to their advantage. But I think the reality is if you even put this on a immaculate pitch, like, say like reach 11, that's a joke in there. Rising, I'm not going to say that they're going to be winning this match either, right? I think that plain and simple, they were still a step behind. I don't think the pitch is going to necessarily change the result. Maybe it has an impact on, a through ball here and there, but honestly, like, I'm not chalking it up to that. I do think it is a factor. I just don't think it is a necessarily majority one, right? I'm looking kind of going up a little bit further in the chat, looking at Johnny McPease. Comment: too often Trejo and Arteaga holding onto the ball too long, not playing passes to teammates that were open. Yeah, I get they've scored goals, but had to focus on the out ball versus forcing glory. That's really a tough one, right? Because on the one hand, you agree, especially in a match like this where it did get held up a bit in the final third. I think there were maybe some outlets, and opportunities to, hey, put a few more crosses in the mixture. We didn't see that quite as much as I thought, given the space
But
out
I
there. But here's the
will,
thing.
I
But
will, I
here's the,
will hold on, Max. I'm going to hop in there and just say I don't feel as
okay.
though the crossing overall was particularly good when it did occur today.
Fair enough. I will say this, though, going back to his comment, though, of like actually holding on the ball. You have two guys who, again, in their last 3 matches have scored, each have scored in the last 3 matches. You don't want to overly dictate and completely like say, hey, change the way you're playing, or, it's win or die by if they're putting the ball in the back of the net. But I mean, if you got to get a shot as any again and goal off this match, probably going to come through those guys.
Yeah. It's. I feel as though John was reasonably accurate though in his sentiment, in that what you'd see at moments would be certain players. I remember in the first half, Panos putting a shot on from distance. It was one of those ones that it just goes over the bar, but you understand as you watch it that the team is not creating many good opportunities.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just take a shot like that on, just let it rip and see what happens. I feel as though there were moments where Manuel Arteaga and Danny Trejo were getting the ball in high traffic areas and trying maybe to do too much with it, or just generally they're not getting a shot off that's particularly good. They're not finding a teammate, and they're trying to do too much with it in those moments. If yes, you are leading the pack at the moment for the Golden Boot, but at the same time, when you are in those moments, you know that they're packing deep. They're playing with a back five, and at times are definitely very willing to defend with all five of them in a pretty just packing the spaces. But you've got to be willing to try and spread them out a little bit more. Utilize other teammates that are making runs into the final third. Find other ways there. I mean, yeah. I mean, goalie man Pat hops in the chat here with the comment about how there's no real chance of crosses accurately put into them. I broadly agree. I don't think the crossing was good, right? I mean, I said this just then to you and your point, Max, but I wonder quite what is up with that. There were a couple of ones that were just overhit. There were other ones that weren't going to good spaces. By and large, you've got to find ways to make that aerial threat work, make it effective.
Yeah, I definitely think a couple of them, right? You have a couple guys. A couple of them were even just like mistimed, right? I mean, I think it's either some too early, some where there were corner balls played into the wingbacks, just kind of overhit. It then forces them to kind of hit a one-timer, cross the box, put in the mixer. Just kind of not everyone on the same page there, right? It's tough. It's tough, man, right? I mean, it's not one where you can, I think, saddle it on any one player, right? You have Arteaga, you have Trejo looking to do something, right? I mean, we have Trejo hitting that laser from 35 yards plus out in the last week. And it's one of those where, hey, you proud a guy for trying something, and this match could have used something like that, but hey, it just wasn't on. It just wasn't on those. It's a tough team to break down, and that's where it's at. We were actually kind of talking. We were trying to find a man of the match in this type of performance. And, I guess this is kind of maybe going off of kind of on both ends, in a way, a complete performance. I get that I might get some flack for this, right? I might get some flack. He missed that opportunity in a sense by the defender catching up, but we do have a man of the match. It is going to be the one, the only Gabby Torres, 4 shots, 8 of 17 duels won, both the 8 duels won and the 17 duel attempts, tops on the team. Same thing for his tackles, both in attempts and tackles won, 4 out of 4 there. Again, he has that opportunity just a touch too far, but I do think that he had actually quite an active day, lots of good dribbling down that sideline. And I think, honestly, he shut down that side relatively well. I think that if you're looking for a guy, maybe him, maybe Jose Andres Hernandez, but I think guys who were incredibly active today, really seemingly all over the pitch.
Yeah, I think you need to look at the way that Tulsa were attacking. That you're right, they were not targeting the side of the pitch that Gabby Torres was on by and large. They weren't trying to take him on, and when they weren't particularly successful in doing so. Feels as though most of the times, yes, they're attacking with pace, they're doing it down the other side. So yes, pretty good, solid performance for him up against his former club here. And yeah, I suppose if you have to pick someone coming out of a game like that, he's definitely a reasonable choice.
That's a fair. If I definitely have to pick someone to go fill up a gas and a reasonable choice, it is gonna be Circle K. Shout out Circle K. They got out there in OK, Oklahoma, right? They're nationwide. They're in Arizona. It is Arizona's, not just Arizona's thirst stop. It's America's thirst stop, right? Download the Circle K app for free. Join their Inner Circle program in the app for free. You guys get a lot of rewards, right? You get your first 5 fill-ups, 25 cents off per gallon. You get 5 free Polar Pops immediately upon signing up. They're going to send you free snacks, free bag of chips, literally just upon signing up. It's fantastic. And then every 6, hot snack you buy, hot food item, all of that jazz, it's going to be free. Just, being a member of Circle K, Inner Circle program, you get 3 cents off a gallon every single time you fill up after those first 5, 25 cents off. It's freaking awesome. Shout out Circle K. Just good stuff. They are absolutely everywhere. Check them out. Good time, good people. And yeah, appreciate them. We're looking out for promo code soon, but shouts are okay. Always a good time. Shout out our friends as well at OG's Brands, right? OG's Brands, they got the gummies. They got the best darn scratch made gummies in Arizona. Oh, and unfortunately, you cannot get them out there where you're in Oklahoma. But those of you who are watching in Arizona, which I know the chat you are, check them out at your local dispensary. Check them out at ogsbrands.com. Check them out on social everywhere at OG's Brands, right? The fruits, the creams, the minis back on the shelves. For those of you who are a little kind of curious, trying to dip your toes in the water, don't want the full thing, just a little touch of it. It's fantastic. Again, check out OG's Brands at ogsbrands.com. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, we did talk a bit about, right, some of the players looking for guys to stand out, and you know there were some interesting lineup situations, but I know also even guys coming in, rotating in the squad. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you did manage to talk to Juan about this.
Yeah, about the choice on the subs and why he took so long ultimately to make his first sub in this game. Let's have a listen to what Juan had to say.
Because I felt that the game was, again, it was controlled. It was not. We were not creating a lot of chances, but they were not also creating chances. They had the ball obviously because they were on the better half of the field and they pinned us back a bit. But we felt comfortable. We felt okay. We didn't feel the need to start making subs right away. And then yes, when Gabby started getting a bit tired, even though he got behind him a few times and he put in some good crosses, we decided to start making substitutions to see if we could probably try to win the game.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's tough. I think especially in a deadlock game like this. I'm not even, I don't know. People I think the halftime sub is necessarily a hot take or whoa. No, man. I think in a match like this, especially where you have grabbed some relatively early leads or at least had some decent performances early on, when a goal's not going in, especially on the road, wouldn't hate it if it was maybe a little bit earlier, but here we are.
Yeah, I know that some people, of course, were clamoring for Carlos Harvey to come in earlier.
Yeah.
I will say that one of the things that does stand out to me, as you break down some of the player stats, and it doesn't stand out in a positive way. Alejandro Fuenmayor, possession won 3, possession lost 20.
What's that now? I'm sorry. I misheard you. Did you
Alejandro
say 20?
Fuenmayor gave the ball away 20 times over the course of this one match? Okay,
man,
that's not great. I mean,
not
Danny
ideal.
Trejo is next up there with 14, but Danny's a striker. I expect him to give the ball away a lot. Alejandro Fuenmayor giving the ball away 20 times is a problem. Now, most of that times you're looking at it, it's through passing. Okay, he was okay in his duels. He didn't really get challenged in the air, particularly only one aerial duel. But when you give the ball away 20 times in a game, that's rough. That's very rough.
That's a toughie.
Mm.
It's a toughie, man. It's SC Collective, damn, that's unacceptable. Going Pat asking, wasn't that because he was just bombing it long for Alejandro Fuenmayor?
I mean, yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Still. There's still a degree of, I think you compare that to people like Stenberg who can play an accurate long ball, and there's a difference between playing direct and, yes, again, I understand the fact that Tulsa are pressing in those moments. I understand the fact that the field surface isn't phenomenal and you've got to work out how exactly you're going to work out of those areas. But at the same time, you don't want to play hoofball. That's not been this team's identity. No. That's not what they've been doing. Okay, I'm getting criticized in the chat for the comparison to Stenberg then, because Stenberg is actually very good. You're right. Stenberg is very good at playing those long balls, and I'm not expecting a Stenberg level performance from players like Fuenmayor in those moments. But I am expecting better. To Devin's comment here about when is Crutzen back. Crutzen was on the bench today.
Yeah, he's been coming off the bench.
He's on the bench.
Matches.
He's available.
He's been playing. He's been playing
Manuel
limited minutes,
King
but he's been
not
playing.
available. Daniel King did, however, make the trip here. But he was not named to the 18. Of course, he is injured. That was one of the 2 changes to the starting lineup that we saw going into this game. Of course, he was replaced by Gabby Torres. The other change was that Renzo Zambrano came in for Carlos Harvey. Yeah. I still just look at that second half and think there were better ways on time that they could have gone about things. I'm not sure. Yes, again, they're playing direct. It's a bit of a change up on times, but it just felt as though they weren't always on the same page. They managed to create one or two chances, but had to absorb a lot of pressure in doing so as well. And in fairness, they absorbed that pressure reasonably well. You actually look at the number of shots and the quality of those shots, and it's not amazing on Tulsa's side. Rising did a reasonable enough job, given the fact that they were letting Tulsa have 65% of the possession. Of actually keeping themselves in the game, but it's still a tough one. They still really didn't quite create enough, and I think as you sat there watching that, I understand Juan's comments about partly why he didn't want to make a change earlier, but at the same time, I think you're watching a game that feels increasingly as though Rising is not creating enough, not finding enough ways to work through that press. And then you have to really start asking questions as to why did it take quite so long? Could they have brought another physical presence on? I mean, I've had people saying to me they thought Carlos Harvey should have been on substantially earlier. I don't necessarily disagree, but it was clear, I think, again, it was, I believe, the first 15-ish minutes of the second half, and Tulsa had, I can't read you because it doesn't want to scroll at the moment. I believe they had over 70% of the possession. So it was quite clear in that moment, in that first 15 minutes after the break, what we were looking at in terms of the way that the game was changing. And I don't know if they adapted quite well enough to that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, right, kind of like talking about the halves, I think you shared a stat. What is it that Rising has failed to score? I think the third most number of times in the league. Is that about right in the first half?
Yep,
I've
right? Also finally managed to pull that possession number. For the first 15 minutes of the second half, Tulsa had 75.7% of the possession. But yes, you are correct. Rising has failed to score a first half goal in 17 of 28 games. The only two teams that have failed in more games are RGV and Indy 11 this year.
That's definitely some company for sure. That kid has quite the suggestion. We need a dumb red card to wake them up, maybe around the 27th minute. Yeah, that's something. It's definitely that'll definitely wake him up in some way. Or going back, Pat's comments, subbing in Max's shadow would have been better than waiting till the 80th minute to make subs. And then going off Bandito's Bluebirds, still unbeaten in 4, but Juan needs to show a greater desire to win.
Yeah, I won't disagree. I will say one of the few things, though, I think you look at that first half and you look at the way the momentum was building in that first half, and you look at the way that Rising was, I think, as the half progressed, asking more questions of the goalkeeper, getting shots in better positions, finding ways to work the ball into better positions. Then in some ways, and this can be just the way that these games happen, right? The halftime whistle comes at the wrong time for you as a team because you have that 15-minute break and it kills off some of that momentum. In this case, Rising, I think, went in as the team that looked on top, went in as the team that looked like they were going to find a breakthrough. And if given another 10 minutes or so, perhaps, probably would, I think, have found a breakthrough. They, of course, don't get that time because you don't get to play until you score. There is no Fergie time here in USL Championship necessarily. And so you come out for the second half, and as I mentioned, that 75% possession for Tulsa for the first 15 minutes, game's completely changed. The momentum has completely changed at that point. You're looking at something very, very different.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, hey, maybe something happens different in this game. I don't know, it's tough. You can talk about how the subs go. You can talk about how this team is looking to go on the front foot. They had like some bit of momentum in that first half, right? We're threatening a bit, but here we go. when I go to Valley Tap Room, I'm threatening to drink a lot of beers or buy beers, right? Maybe one of the two. Right. Especially if you guys have been to Valley Tap Room. I make it happen. I do buy beers for the people. I'm a man of the people. It is confirmed. Many of you in the chat, please start commenting and saying nice things about how many beers I have bought you, of which there have been many. That way we get this guy on my right or left, depending on how the screen is oriented, to pipe down. But yeah, shout out Valley Tap Room. Always a good time, right? Shout out my man Donald. They got some good stuff going on. Check out their Instagram at Valley Tap Room for some cool information coming up. We'll be there buying beers. I'll be buying beers. Shoot, don't clip that. Anyway, yeah, shout out Valley Tap Room. Good time, good people. And yeah, always a good time. Go sports, go Valley Tap Room. Shout out Four Peaks as well. I'm going to be drinking Four Peaks when I'm at Valley Tap Room, right? It's my beer of choice. It is our beer of choice. They got the wows, the kills, the hazies, all of that fun, delicious stuff. It is that, it's pumpkin porter season also. For those of you got your basic, well, that's kind of harsh. For those of you who like a good festive beer, fall, right? You don't have to be basic. You can be basic, but you can also just like a good spicy, it's not spicy, a pumpkin spice beer. The pumpkin porter. They're double pumpkin porter as well. My word, we're talking about double the pumpkin porter. It's freaking crazy over here. Four Peaks. It's awesome. You can get that at Four Peaks Pub on 8th Street Pub. Always have great stuff. You can check them out at Four Peaks Pub or at Four Peaks Brew to grab some beers on Instagram. Oh my gosh. Check out those accounts on Instagram, and then you have to go in person, to buy beers. But yeah, seeing everyone, right? Ben News Bluebird. Max has bought me 2 beers. Confirmed. Max's Shadow and Max buy beers at Valley Tap Room. Producer Leah is producing us right now, and she says pumpkin porter is elite because it's freaking true. Devinol, I have bought cider. Yes, I do everything. Shout out Four Peaks. Shout out Valley Tap Room. I do buy the beers. Nothing me about buying beers, right? We already know that's a confirmed fact. Owen, let's go around the USL, shall we?
Yeah, we should. Well, I'll address one little thing there in the chat actually from earlier, which is, isn't that what warm-ups and locker room talks are for? They need to come out hungry and ready. I agree, but there's still elements whereby it's 15 minutes of awkward downtime. Even if you've got the locker room talk, even if it sucks a little bit out of you. It's actually easier, I think, for the locker room talk to work if you are chasing a game more than if you feel like you're getting close and not quite there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there is still scope for that to play a role. I would agree with you on that one. But yeah, let's have a look around the USL. Do you want me to read out the scores?
Do it.
Let's go. Pittsburgh Riverhounds 3, Loudoun United 1.
Who?
Hartford Athletic and RGV postponed after 11 minutes.
Can't really do anything about that.
Tampa Bay Rowdies 2, Louisville City 1.
Matey.
Detroit City 2, Miami FC 1.
8 Mile.
Charleston Battery 2, San Diego Loyal 0.
Battering.
Memphis 901 0, Monterey Bay 1.
More like call 911.
Colorado Springs Switchbacks 1, San Antonio 1.
Alamo.
73 after 73 minutes, Orange County 0, El Paso 0.
Orange County with, let's see, what is it? 8-game winning streak. They are threatening the USL championship record of 10 wins, but right now, not winning.
Max, if you want to talk about a boring game, 73 minutes in, there's been one shot on target between both teams.
Oh, we thought this one was rough. Oh, dear gosh.
Okay,
oh,
just bear that in mind. And one other score, finally, at half-time, Las Vegas Lights 0, Oakland Roots 1.
Wait. Vegas losing? No.
Yeah, it actually took a penalty, to be fair.
Okay. All right.
Took a penalty. But yeah, 0-0 in that Orange County game, and there's been one shot on target between both teams. So it's a fantastic game, clearly. I'm sure it's a real fun for all ages. In fact, I'll have a look now as it stands again. 73 minutes into the game, the two sides collectively have produced 0.23 expected goals.
That's pretty low. Not great.
That's very low. To put it into perspective, Rising today produced Rising alone produced it was 0.87, and Tulsa produced 0.49. So, yeah.
Well, that's It's a chess match, as they
To
say.
the one comment in there as well from Fat Kid. No, one shot on target. There have been more shots, just one on target.
Okay, that clarification does help, but yeah, that's still not a lot. Still not a lot. There were 5 on target in this match, so yeah. There you go. Yeah, man. Let's get out of here. It's Saturday night. Anything else you would like to leave the people with?
Hang on a minute. What was that with the USL record? We're getting some stuff here from Goddyman Pat.
Listen, that's what the graphics said, man. They said
Well,
that
ignore what the graphics said. We know it was a 20-game win streak. We know that Phoenix Rising did it in 2019.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then why the graphic? Yeah, I know. But why
I heard this. I was told that this erasure was taking place. Some people have reported back to me that this is what was being said on the broadcast. I can tell you right now that it is factually incorrect. Phoenix Rising does hold the record for 20 games, won in a row in USL Championship in a single season. They did it, of course, in 2019. If you want to be really picky, you can start getting into whether number 20 should have counted. But it did. And so, yeah.
Can I clarify?
So yes, 20 game
no, for sure. I know that. Can I clarify? I thought that the broadcast meant like for this season, but even that 10, I think they said Pittsburgh had it. That doesn't seem right.
I thought someone had said Cincy, which was the previous record.
I thought they were talking about 10 for this season. I thought they were talking about the season record for this season. USL record for this season.
I don't think anyone's won 10 in a row this year.
That's what I thought. That's why I was very confused.
No one's won.
Yeah, I know they're not touching Rising's record at the moment, but I'm like, huh.
I mean, it would be incredibly impressive given that most teams have not won more than about 15, 16 games. I mean, the most games won at the moment is Tampa Bay with 16. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I don't believe anyone's done so. Cincy is what it says on. Look on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well,
I'm intrigued. Of course, it is factually incorrect to say that
the
win streak record is 10 games. It is 20. We know that. FC Tulsa's president would know that, given that he was working for the relevant club.
You ain't wrong. Like I said, I thought the broadcast was referring to this year, not all time, because yes, we know of the record. But
yeah, no, it does. It says 2 wins shy of the USL Championship record, which was 10 by FC Cincinnati in 2018. Yeah, that's correct. That's what they said at halftime.
Well, they were referring to.
They were talking about Orange County, how close they were to breaking the record.
Okay. I misread that. I thought it said something about Pittsburgh and this year. Okay. Well, I saw that for like 2 seconds. I missaw that. But they're trying to claim that all time. Y'all crazy. Y'all 100% crazy. Let's end on this, right? St. John McPhee's. We 100% need a home game given the opponent's Rising has left. There is no good reason they don't. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's a weird game. We're taking it in. We're can only do better next time. Rising does have a week until their next match. So, yeah, it's a little time to regroup, and you're not going to have like 3 games, 8 days, a little time to catch up, hold your breath, all that stuff. And, well, you don't have to wait too long for us because we'll be back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Yeah, we will. You'll be back. We'll be back in studio. What's that? Oh, yeah.
You know where? You know when?
You do.
Same as it always is. Tuesday.
Same as it always is in the freaking studio with this guy next to me, 6 p.m. Tuesday. But until then, appreciate y'all joining us for the PHNX Rising Best Game Show. Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at PHNX__Rising because double the underscore.
I don't know what to say for this game.
Double the. Someone in the chat, help us. What can we double? In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans 18. There you go, Fat Kid. Thank you. Double the zeros. Okay. Also, PHNX Sports. Thank you, Leah. Nice, double the zeros on the scoreboard. That does seem appropriate. You can follow Leah on Twitter at Leah Merrill. Also, you can follow all of our PHNX account. PHNX _ and then insert. Suns, Cardinals, Coyotes, Diamondbacks. Wildcats, Sun Devils, all that fun stuff. Join us if you guys are like football, by the way. Join us out tomorrow, BetMGM watch party for free. Free ticket giveaways to Cardinals home games, all that fun stuff. If you wear a PHNX Cardinals shirt, I will buy you a beer. Boom, you can clip that. You can put that out there. There we go. If you are wearing a PHNX Cardinals shirt at our watch party tomorrow in Glendale, I will buy you a beer for free. We're also doing other special prizes, doing live shows, all that stuff. Good time, good food, lots of screens, good time. But yeah, it's what a game. Here we are. Yeah, let's get out of here. It's a beautiful game, way more beautiful when the team like
Scores
does better. And scores a goal, and I don't have this shower thing next to me. Okay, goodbye. See you guys. Have a good weekend.